Okay. Okay, if everyone could kindly use the sign-in sheet, if you're here in the audience, and place your affiliation as well as your email address so that we can keep you on our mailing list. And everyone online, if you could please sign your name and affiliation, contact information if we don't already have it, also into the chat. And we're going to, welcome to the Wednesday, November 6th, 2024, Community Board 9 Landmarks Preservation and Parks Committee meeting. We are going to call the meeting to order at 6:37 p.m. So welcome everyone, and thank you for your continued participation. And we will now ask for a motion to adopt the agenda and minutes.
I make a motion that we adopt the agenda and minutes as is.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. And so then we'll move, Veronica second. Okay, is Leslie Wright on?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. Happy to be here from New York State Parks, from the Adam Clayton Powell Junior State Office Building. A beautiful view behind me, but it's too dark, you can't see. So at Riverbank, but for today's 80-degree temperatures, we do have ice at our skating rink. Today it got a little smushy, but you know, the forecast takes it back down, and ice is going. Our public sessions are up and running. Our hockey teams are on site. Figure Skating of Harlem is back for another glorious year at the park, and our own figure skating program as well. In addition, even before the Liberty won the championship, we have opened up ladies open gym basketball every Thursday and Sunday, 8 to 10 p.m. We have pickleball in the gymnasium every single Saturday, 6 to 8. It's free, it's adults. We have basketball skills and drills focused on youth girls, youth boys, 4 to 6 every Saturday. We have special programming for Veterans Day. All of our classes, regular scheduled classes, will be canceled for the day so that we can open up the facility to everybody, ice skating as long as it isn't 80 degrees. We have all sorts of activities, free play in the gym. And we have a special arts and crafts project to honor our veterans in the Cultural Theater 10 to 2. Pretty much everything is free, and all materials will be provided. Our next senior social is on November 14th. We're welcoming Bosco and the Storm. Our Live on the Hudson program is alive and well on Saturdays. The next date up is Saturday, November 16, 6 to 9 in the theater. It's basically a talent show. Whatever you want to get up and show off and share with folks, whether it's spoken word, song, dance. We have some amazing talent that shows up, and we have dozens of people that turn out for each one of these sessions. Again, it's free. We're thrilled with our recently reinvigorated young people's performances. We hosted during Hispanic Heritage Month a raucous 800 person strong school day performance by a song and dance troupe. On Thursday, November 21st, 10:30, we're hosting Arm of the Sea Theater. This is an incredibly creative group based in the Hudson Valley that makes supersized life-size puppets and have full-scale puppet shows on different environmental themes. On the 21st of November, the theme is Estuary Tales. All of these programs are represented in flyers that are both on the website, and I know our park director has shared them with the community board. So I'm hoping they've all been shared, easy access for everybody. The final event that I wanted to draw attention to, Community Garden Lottery. It's coming.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, we have a lottery every 2 years. Our date is Saturday, February 15th. 15th. The lottery is for a 2-year season. 65 beds are available. 1 sign up per household. The lottery will be held in the theater. The doors of the theater open at 10 a.m. Anyone who wishes to enter the lottery must bring ID and proof of address that day. No exceptions. So we have months to prepare for this, folks. The doors to the theater close at 10:59 a.m. and the lottery commences at 11 a.m. So all of this information is posted at the park on the website. And again, we shared all these flyers with Yutha. And Yutha, thank you so much for always posting everything. Really, really, really appreciate it. Hi. Last thing, I just wanted to make sure everybody is aware that our 3 big current capital projects at the park are proceeding nicely. The stair tower and elevator that goes from the parking lot below the park up to the park, that renovation is going well. If you've seen it, we've demolished much of the old stair tower. And so far, no wrinkles. We're on track. Our shuttle service going from downstairs to upstairs and upstairs to downstairs is going really, really well. Park patrons love it, staff love it. It's not a permanent service. It will go away once the stair tower and elevator renovation is complete, but we're thrilled to be able to provide it for folks in the meantime. Secondly, our aquatics complex filter room and bulkhead renovation project is also on track. So far, no major surprises. So, in the coming weeks, coming sessions, I hope to be able to start talking about dates when the pool will open up early in the winter of 2025. The last big project is our cultural HVAC complete replacement. That project is going well, and we're seem to be on track to getting our classrooms back due to the internal electrical work that had to happen inside the offices and classrooms. So hopefully in December, we'll have all those classrooms back and offices back online and can just get everybody situated back where they normally were for classes and programs. That's all I had. If Heather and you all say that there's another minute, I'm happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions? Is Anne here from the Harlem School of the Arts? Are there any questions in the chat? I can't
Yes,
see.
hi, I am here. Hi.
Oh, okay. Did you have any questions for Riverbank State Park?
I didn't have any questions specifically for Riverbank, I guess. Um, well, I guess this is the place to ask this, or the time to ask this. I was just wondering about the mural that is located right next to the running track. Is that something that was commissioned by CB9?
No, that was commissioned by the park quite a few years ago, probably about a dozen years ago. And the park to work with a community arts-based organization and local community members to come up with the theme and the design and the execution.
Okay, yeah, I guess because I don't know if you know anything about Harlem School of the Arts, but we do have we provide arts education for ages K through 12, and we have a very strong media and design arts program. And part of that program is a mural class. Is actually very popular among the kids, and I was wondering
Hmm.
if you would consider sort of finishing that wall in murals. Do you know what I'm talking?
It seems like that's something I'd be happy to talk about offline.
Yeah. Okay. Can I reach out to you?
Please, I'll
Great.
put my email address in the chat.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate the question.
Thanks for the question, yes. Okay, Shannon, I see your hand raised. You have a question, Shannon?
Thanks. Yes, one comment, one question. Hi, Leslie. Good evening. One, just wanted to point out to everybody, Leslie's always talking about the wonderful flyers that are communicated to Community Board 9. I also wanted to comment, the Danny Farrow Riverbank State Instagram account is fantastic because their flyers are incredibly colorful and informative and are all there. So I'm actually finding it easier to see the flyer information through their Instagram account. So just want to compliment them on that social media presence. One quick question. Prior to COVID, so this would have been pre-2020, when Ann Rocker, a name you might be familiar with, a rather long-standing activist in the community, used to host a community-wide review meeting of some kind in Riverview Towers at Riverside Drive on 139th. And a representative from Riverbank used to always come, broad-shouldered, tall, Black gentleman, wonderful, deep voice. I
Awesome.
remember long and long ago, the topic of the ventilation stacks in the north section of the park near the bus terminals would always come up in terms of their condition, their view, their painting, all the rest of it. Clearly, as many times as that's come up, it still has yet to be addressed. So I'm wondering, in the capital improvement flow for Riverbank, is that something that we're going to see one day?
Shannon, I thank you for all your comments and questions. Thank you for shouting out the Instagram account. That's
Mhm.
great, and encourage everyone to look at it. Ann Rocker is still very active in the park. She hosts the monthly Friends of Riverbank State Park meetings. It's the second Saturday of every month from 10:30 to noon. Everyone is welcome and encourage you all to attend. This Saturday is the second Saturday of November, so come on over and join us. Ann runs the meetings. She has not been running the NYSERB meetings, the North River Community Environmental Board meetings that she used to hold at on the Riverside Drive location you referenced for a while now. The gentleman that you referenced from the park is our very own Oscar Smith. He was the deputy director at Riverbank for many, many years. He retired some years back. And is happily living up in Yonkers, still with his eye on parks. The stacks are very much of interest to the park. They are part of the plants below. They are not part of the park itself, even though they sit at park level. And we have been in active conversation with New York City Department of Environmental Protection, DEP, for the 10 years that I've been here at state parks, encouraging them to refresh the paint job and offering assistance in terms of, whether it's community input for design. They're very eager to do so. Cost has been the issue, but I would imagine that if community voices were to express interest in having that done, that could only help.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much, Shannon, for that question. And Shannon, I think I'm going to forward that question to the Health and Environment Committee, and perhaps we should have regular representation from DEP attend those meetings, as we used to do with Ann Rocker's meetings at 626 Riverside Drive prior to the pandemic. Okay,
That'd be slick.
because air quality and making sure that we properly monitor that is still very important, even more so now.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's fair.
thank
Thank
you
you.
so, okay, so, let's move on. Is Mallory on the line?
Hi there, just checking. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, Mallory,
Okay,
we hear you
good.
fine.
I was having some technical difficulties. Thank you. Yeah, just wanted to give a thank you to everyone who was involved and participated in our Harvest Festival. After I'm done chatting, I'm gonna share a link to some celebratory images from that. And yeah, a big thank you for making that day really wonderful, and for us just kind of being able to celebrate the harvest together as we put the learning garden to bed. And you're all welcome to continue on in the preparing our learning garden for winter. We have many classes coming up that I just wanted to shout out, where even though we're putting the garden to bed, we are still having our free intergenerational weekly classes that happen about 5 to 6 days a week. And some of those coming up tomorrow, for example, we have botanical chocolate making with cacao. We have pressed flower art from some of the flowers that we preserved in the garden. We have cyanotype workshops coming up. We're going to be planting some more garlic bulbs. We're just waiting for it to get a little bit cooler. You're invited to come and learn how to plant some bulbs with us. We've got some gorgeous cover crop going on. You can learn about soil health if you'd like, and we've got more seasonal recipes for staying warm. So I will drop the link to our events listed on the Hort website in the chat as well. And would love for you all to come by for these free classes. Also wanted to shout out that there's a few more spots in our field trips. November is filling up, but we still have maybe 1 or 2 more spots available, and certainly for December. And just a reminder that all CB9 schools get free field trips. So tell your schools to sign up. We would love to host field trips. And let's see, and the one save the date. Our internship has been going really sweetly for our high school Harlem-based young people. They meet every Friday evening, early afternoon, late afternoon, early evening, and they're going to be hosting their market bag giveaway on December 14th. And that's kind of an event that they take over and curate and give away free farm fresh produce. So save the date, December 14th, 11 to 1, but I'll pop on again in early December for our meeting and remind you all.
Great, thank you so much. A question, go ahead.
Yeah, about the free field trips, is that organized through schools or individual organizations?
Schools, but we can, I'll leave my email in the chat again, because we have some organizations who are kind of working with us to also do field trips. All CB9 schools are funded, but let's chat and we can see if there's funding for organizations.
Outside, I'm with the Central Park Conservancy, and we're having a new facility built in the northern end. We're trying to get school kids there, so the more ways you can figure out to do field trips, great.
Yes, yeah, I've actually I think some folks from the Hort that I work for are in conversation around that with you all. But yeah, feel free to reach out and I'll connect you with more folks who might, we can always hear for geeking out on curriculum and ways our resources can kind of support field trips.
I have a question for Mallory. Hi, Mallory, this is Veronica. I'm geeking out on soil health. Was wondering, I have heard some neighborhood gardens mention having difficulty finding sort of testing kits to check for lead. Wondering if your soil health workshop has any resources that other neighborhood gardens could benefit from. If you could speak to that.
Yes, absolutely. Would love to connect on that. We have a couple ways that we test for soil health that is just kind of anyone can do and teach, but also sending resources. There are some really great ones in the city that are completely free right now. And we have some folks when we partner with Bronx River Alliance, who also partners with Cornell and provides like free like lead testing in soil. So happy to connect you with those resources. And when we do any kind of soil health workshop, we're very also would love to geek out on soil health with you. So I'll drop all my information. Please reach out about that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Are there any of our community gardeners on the line that want to provide any announcements, or anyone from a Green Thumb related community garden? Okay, great. Kelly, are you on today? From the National Park Service?
Hey, yeah, I'm here.
Oh, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your wonderful presentation last month.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for the invite. Yeah. So I don't have too much to report on today in terms of updates. We are continuing our year-round programming for visitors of all ages, from all walks of life and from all over the world. We are continuing to recruit volunteers who are interested in giving tours of both Hamilton Grange and the Grant's Tomb site. So if you or anybody that you know is interested in hosting visitors and giving them historical information about our sites in our neighborhood, please let me know. I can put my email in the chat. So we're looking for, like I said, just people who are passionate about education and spreading the message. But what we're learning is that a lot of high school and college students are finding benefits from working with us. We are starting a new internship program with CCNY, which of course hugs us at Hamilton Grange. So we're very excited to continue our volunteer and internship programs. Last year, we logged over 2,500 hours of volunteer service at Hamilton Grange. So we're going to keep the momentum.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here, always. Any
Thank
questions
you.
for the National Park Service? Great, wonderful. Okay, Wesley Hamilton for Riverside Park, West Harlem Piers. Wesley, I saw you on earlier.
Yeah, hi everyone. Can you hear me or see me okay?
Hi, Wes. Yes.
Hey, good
Hi,
evening.
Wes. Good.
Good to see everyone tonight.
Mhm.
So not a lot of updates, but I know I would like to reassure. I know everyone out there. I know there's been a lot of concerns with the capital project at the 142 Dog Run. That there hasn't been a lot of work going on the site. We're aware of that. They have had some issues where some utilities were not on the blueprints. The blueprints are very old. We're talking from 1930s and Robert Moses era. So when we find these things, we have to pause. We have to send it to a DOT to try to make sure if it's a DOT item that they approve what we're doing. And we have to work with them. So, but our capital team is very confident that they're still on track, that they're going to meet their deadline. So we don't want anybody to think that we're not working on it. They're just not in the field currently right now. Um, once everything is approved by DOT or whatever changes they come up with, then we'll have to make a change order with our contractor, and he'll have to be in agreement. But at this point in time, everybody's on board with it, and once they get through those issues, they will continue back work. I don't have a time frame on that, but as I said, they're confident they'll stay within their time frame. With that too, I'll keep you updated as best I can. If there's anything that does delay them or any other issues that come up, I'd be happy to notify the board on. With that, our crews are currently out there working, and just ask for your patience as they try to remove the leaves and keep the park clean. And that'll be our main focus from here throughout fall, and hopefully we don't have any snow until later in the year. But however, if it happens, we're ready and prepared for that. But if anybody has any questions or complaints, or my information's in the contact as well, you could reach out to me, and I'll try to address any questions that you might have for me now.
Sounds good. Any questions for Wes? Okay.
All right, great. Thank you.
Stephanie, is Stephanie on today?
Hey everyone. Thank you so much, Wes, for the update on Dog Run 142. Have been getting a lot of questions about that in our survey. So, yeah, hi everyone. I'm Stephanie Caban. I am the North Park Outreach Coordinator for Riverside Park. I work from 120th Street to 181st Street, and have just a few small updates. We have our annual leaf lift happening on Saturday, November 16th. At 10 a.m. We have 3 different locations in the park. The location that's in CB9 is at 148th Street and Riverside Drive. That's 148th Street and Riverside Drive at 10 a.m. And leaf lift is what it sounds like. We are lifting the leaves from the park. While we are leaving a lot of the leaves in the garden beds, because organic matter is obviously really good for the garden beds, we are removing them from staircases and pathways where people might slip and fall. So we are going to be removing those leaves. Some of that might go to Jenny's garden for compost Sean. Some of that will go to our compost compound on 96th Street, and some of it will be mulched and put into garden beds. So really excited about that. It's really fun, family friendly. We'll create a bunch of piles. We'll have the kids jump in them, and then we will remove them. So that's really exciting. Also, yeah, really important now with our drought. We've had 1 or 2. I know that there have been some brush fires in Van Cortlandt Park. There have been 1 or 2 kind of scary incidences with fires in the park as well. So yeah, removing those leaves would be great. Every Wednesday, we have volunteer opportunities at Socorro Park if anyone wants to garden with our gardener, Winston Johnson. So that's every Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Socorro Park. And then if anyone is interested in birding or picking up a new hobby or just trying to find some peace in this world, and you want to do some birding, we have a birding club every single month. It's usually on the last Saturday of every month. And so this month it's on November 30th, Saturday at 8 a.m. We do provide binoculars, and that will be at 116th Street and Riverside Drive. So 116th Street, Riverside Drive for birding club at 8 a.m. on November 30th. We do give out binoculars if anybody's interested. That's all I have for today.
The binoculars are just loaners. They're returned after use.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions for Stephanie? And for the Riverside Park Conservancy? Thank you so much as usual, Stephanie. I miss the goats.
You're not the only one.
Friends of St. Nicholas Park, is Karen on? Karen Asner?
Karen has sorry, she's helping with some family right now, so she's unable to make tonight's meeting.
Okay, and I know Brad is not on too tonight, so then we can move right along then to topology, to New York City parks and historic Harlem parks, and Matt.
Well, hello then.
Hi.
Let me put on my camera. Okay. Hi, everyone. Hope you all are having a good evening. Just a few updates from us. The Harlem Sculpture Garden has started de-installation in Morningside, St. Nicholas, and Jackie Robinson parks. And for Morningside, we have a few upcoming events in December specifically. For the winter celebration and tree lighting, it's on December 7th from 4 to 6 p.m. This is with the Friends of Morningside. This will be at West 121st Street at the picnic areas. Then with the Urban Park Rangers on December 28th from 1 to 2 p.m. We have Gather Around the Campfire, where there's campfire activities with the Urban Park Rangers at West 110th Street and Manhattan Avenue. Lastly, the capital project at Morningside is still ongoing. This is at 113th Street, still ongoing. And those are all my updates for now. And I think Matt has an update regarding the Friends volunteer events. So I'll pass it over to him.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I have an update from Karen since she wasn't able to make it tonight. Friends of St. Nicholas is going to be hosting their final At least as far as we're aware, final volunteer project for the season on Saturday, November 9th from 11 to 1, meeting at the 135th Plaza, helping to do a park spruce up. So if you're around, get out there and enjoy the nice weather while we still have it. A few updates on some other projects. I think Tapashi mentioned this already, but the 113 staircase is moving along. The handrail project there, that's scheduled to be wrapped up by this spring, before the end of April, hopefully earlier. The Sheltering Arms restroom that's been under construction for quite a while is getting very close to being done. I think within the next several weeks it should be open. So by the time we are meeting next month, I hope to have be able to announce that that is up and running, and that will also help us to be able to better service that park, because we should be able to have staff stationed out of that site. The Alexander Hamilton basketball court is under renovation. I believe I announced that last month. And then I think that's it. Oh, there will be some It's My Park Day events going on November 16th and 17th over this district and other parks. A lot of the District 9 parks have been jumping on it early. Montefiore Square had a project last weekend. The 137th Street group had a project the weekend before, but we'll send announcements out as we have other places where people can link up and get involved. I'll be happy to answer any questions if anyone has any, and Tapashi as well.
Hey, Matt, Chris, quick question for you. Alexander Hamilton Playground, at any point in the future, is the comfort station going to be renovated?
They got looked at for renovation, but I don't know if it's I think it's still a proposed project and not something that's on the docket that's actually funded as of yet. But it has been, I think our capital team looked at it to see what it would cost to actually do a renovation there. But it is for sure in need.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the hand thing, but
I
I'm
can hear
having
you, Yuli.
difficulty. Oh, hey, Matt, how are you?
Good.
So, would that be something for the participatory budget?
I think that's
Request?
probably out of the cost range of what participatory budgeting could handle, because comfort stations usually run well over $1 million plus.
Wow.
Nowadays, yeah.
Okay. Is there anything that comes to mind in St. Nicholas Park that we could advocate for this process?
So I'm there's a couple areas that I don't know what it would cost, but I think it would be within reason for PB budgeting, like the safety surface at a playground 125. I think could be a great avenue to be able to get that replaced, and the safety surface at Annunciation Playground. Those are like smaller projects that, but still would cost significant funding that PB budgeting,
Okay.
if the community supported it, could be able to get corrected.
Okay, all right. Thank
But
you.
I will let me ponder that, and then I'll get back to the board on any possible ideas with St. Nicholas, and Tapashi and I can work on that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Shannon, I see your question, Shannon, and then we have a question in the audience here. Go ahead, Shannon, with your question.
Thanks. Just a quick 30 seconds. Wanted to let the community board know and to recognize and thank Matt for his assistance the Halloween event that Dog Run 142 did in collaboration with the St. Nicholas Dog Run Group and the Polo Grounds Dog Run Group at 145 was a huge success. Thanks to the community board for putting our flyer out. But Matt was hugely instrumental, as always, in supporting that St. Nicholas Dog Run Group and getting some maintenance support prior to the event. The Councilmember Abreu came. It was wonderful. It was lovely. Matt, we hollered you guys out as one of our sponsors in our social media. If you don't follow my Instagram, you should be. You would have seen that. But I just want to thank you again for all that. It's nice to be playing in your park and collaborating with St. Nick's, and you've been a big part of that. So just want to say thanks.
Well, we appreciate the support that I know you guys have brought over a lot of extra manpower to help out St. Nicholas. So in the dog run over there, it's well appreciated as well.
Yeah, I'm a problem. Thanks.
Nah.
Go ahead, Ms. Caldwell. We have a general question.
Hi, Nat, Pat Caldwell. I wanted to ask, about a square, Donelson Square, which is located on the corner of 149th Street at the corner of St. Nicholas Avenue and St. Nicholas Place. We, over there, we, would have been for the last couple of years, as we have been doing previous years, trying to be able to decorate for holiday, like just put simple white lights on the trees and maybe say, happy holidays from Sugar Hill. Is that within your budget? Or can we be budgeted in on that for a very, very simple decoration? We're not even trying to push the Christmas tree.
So any holiday lights that are put up are actually funded by any friends group or organization that would put up lights. So there's a process involved through that. When our agency sends out the official announcement for holiday light displays around different parks, we can make sure that that information gets sent to you. But it would need to be, Parks doesn't fund the lights for those projects. Those are funded by the community.
Very good. I'm gonna back that up a little bit. We have currently formulated Friends of Donelson Square, and we are ready to purchase the lights. Now, is the Parks Department liable or responsible for putting the lights up? In other words, we are ready, and at the end of that, we would like to have a lighting ceremony. So is that, I understood that the Parks Department upkeeps the square. So who do we speak to for them to put the lights in the trees?
Do you need a permit, Matt?
You need a permit, and there's a forestry permit involved. Depending on the scope of the work, it could be possible where the Friends group would have to hire a forestry contractor to put up the lights. If it's one single evergreen tree, that might be something that our agency could do, but I would have to, we'd have to look at I'm not able to make that decision. It goes through the application process, and we can send you the information once that gets sent out to the other groups who do holiday displays around the city.
Okay.
Matt, can you send the application just to me and the community board? Oh, and let me just quickly make an announcement. We have a new co-chair of the Landmarks Preservation and Parks Committee, Christopher Johnson. Sorry I didn't make that announcement earlier. Annette has served us extremely well. We welcome her housing knowledge and her participation. Thank you, Annette, for all that you do and you'll continue to do. And Chris has stepped in. He can't fill Annette's shoes, and so everybody be patient with Chris. We're all going through this learning process together. So everybody also please congratulate Chris as the new co-chair of the Community Board 9 Landmarks Preservation and Parks Committee. So thank you so much. Okay.
So Heather, yes, I can send you that the formal letter that gets sent out
Yes.
from our borough office once they reach out to contacts. Donelson Square is actually in CB10, but Patricia, I'll send you an email And maybe we can schedule a time to look on site to see what you actually have, what you would like
Matt,
to
I
come
do
fruition.
believe it is CB9.
It is
Donald
9.
Square is CB9.
It is 9.
Yeah, it is
Community
9.
Board 9.
It is 9. I have been in contact with historical societies of Harlem and all the rest of that. So what we need to know is, where do we get the permit? Because I sit on this committee. I need to know where to obtain the permit, if it's going to be charged, how much are they going to charge us? And if we have to put it up ourselves, we will do that. But I want to have a lighting ceremony no later than December the 9th.
Okay, we can send you that information as it's being finalized from our borough office. They're still working on some of those details. We'll send it out. I'll make sure you
thanks, Matt.
I'll make sure you all have it.
Send it to myself and to Youtha, at the community board, at the district office. We'd appreciate that. Okay?
Thank you.
Any other questions for Matt? Anyone else, either online or in the audience? And, okay, all right. Thank you, Matt. So we'll try to keep moving the agenda forward. We have a letter of concern regarding the Claremont Theater located at 3320 to 3338 Broadway. It's another one of our, it's an individual landmark here in our community board. That another example of one of our treasures that has been improperly, I shouldn't say improperly, that unfortunately is being used as a storage facility, which is not its intended purpose as one of our theaters in the area. And so Veronica Savage, one of our new members, is going to explain or present or read, whatever is comfortable for you, the letter of concern that we have regarding the Claremont Theater.
Yeah, I'd love to start by just expressing gratitude for our parks and our gardens and our historic sites. I think CB9 is really just fortunate to have so many treasures in this area, and I think we're going to be needing those sanctuary spaces as we navigate our new world. And so I'll just share that, this is the district-wide committee tasked with overseeing our historic districts, our individual landmarks, and our scenic landmarks. Claremont is a very special individual landmark on 135th and Broadway. It's actually one of the New York City's oldest structures dedicated to motion pictures. And so we, as stewards of this area's landmarks, are really trying to do due diligence by paying attention to how they're being cared for. And this letter of concern is regarding unauthorized exterior work at Claremont, specifically modifications and repairs that have been noted on the building's exterior that were carried out without the necessary permits, and also concerns about just poor maintenance. The building shows visible signs of neglect, including structural wear, damage to decorative elements. And part of these letters are meant to be proactive. So we are urging the owner to correct these conditions without incurring penalties, specifically to address all the maintenance issues with care and sensitivity to the building's historic features, and also submit an application to Landmark Preservation Commission to correct unauthorized exterior work. The letter, I'm not going to read it verbatim, are in the attachments. And again, we're trying to be good stewards with this district's treasures. And part of that is paying attention to how they're being cared for and working collaboratively and proactively with owners. So I move that this letter be approved and sent to the executive committee.
Okay. I'm putting the letter up on the screen just so that people who are joining us virtually can get an idea of the letter. It was sent to all committee members in our package a couple of times. It was actually held over from last month's meeting till today. So thank you for your patience.
Joshua wants to jump in.
Joshua, does anyone have anything to add?
Spray rigging.
Huh?
Spray rigging passed away, Nick Spray rigging.
Yeah, no, that's the son. The father is still living. He's just absentee in Florida. And there is an existing dispute with the grandson. So the address was received from the Department of Finance tax records, as well as Department of State tax records. He still is living. He's actually a very, was very well known in this area. Gerald is the grandfather. His son Nick passed away. Yes, yes. So we had to verify, took a while to verify the actual ownership. It was not an easy task, okay? So, but Gerald is still living. And so this is, the letter just, and this came to our knowledge as a result of our review of current LPC permits and violations that are issued monthly from the Landmarks Preservation Commission. And this was how it came to our knowledge that, this property has been in disrepair. Okay.
Quick question. There's a reference to poor maintenance and exterior. Is there any need to reference usage, improper usage?
Well, this is a continuing concern for this community board, how properties are being used in a manner that was not intended according to its historic use. In this case, it should be a theater. But at that time, it was probably prior to any designations or anything like that, it was converted. And I noticed that through historical records, things did go before the planning review committee. It's unfortunate that we have a theater in our community that is being used as a storage facility. Okay, that just should not be. So thank you for that question.
So storage facility / medical office.
Yes, like a bunch of other things too. So it's inappropriate, but
I think trying to stay within our lane, like really addressing the exterior work and the maintenance on the outside, which is absolutely within our purview to raise. I think the use of the inside space, we enter the gray area, but we can definitely work on what we can see and keep it clean.
And in this case, because this use has been going on at least since the 80s, it was probably, and you preservationists that are here, it was probably prior to any designation. I don't know when it became an individual landmark. Did you do your research? Did you find out when it was designated as an individual landmark?
Let's see.
It's not that long ago, because it was a compromise, he owns a building next door.
He owns
So-
many around.
Yeah, but it allows him, he has now have air rights for that landmark building, but he has next door. So, she agreed to be. Interior building.
But we are concerned about the interior, and we're definitely concerned in this community board about use. And that's just, one thing that we always consider is how something is used. But
Heather,
in part of this letter, we are reaching out to this owner to come speak to us about any future changes, any future uses. And I hear you, and go ahead with your comments.
yeah, but Landmark does not administer interiors. I mean, and
This is
so
an individual.
even if
landmark.
it's an individual landmark, I mean, they just don't do interiors, and it would be hard. It would be hard to make a case forcing something to adhere to its original use.
I'm not saying to adhere to, I'm just making a comment that that's not the original or the intended use. It happens to be a storage facility.
That's also not the note.
I think a better tool would be to look at the zoning because that governs the use.
We're not considering this for the purposes of this letter, so,
I think the major concern, if I understand, was the exterior.
Yes.
The interior is their use, is providing a service to the community. But the concern was that the chipping away at the exterior of the building, and that is the wheelhouse of LPC. And they can hold the owners accountable for doing that. And so one of our members, Liz, did notice, and we just want to bring it into their.
And they made some unauthorized exterior changes.
It's terracotta. So
Yeah.
Was designated June 6, 2006.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you so much. It's good to have preservationists in the audience. Okay.
So if I may, is that a privately owned property?
Yes.
Okay, so I happened to be by the 135th Street a few days ago, and I saw that, and I now understand what Liz, is her name, was talking about. Yeah, it's an eyesore.
Okay.
There's a movie camera.
Yeah. Go ahead, Josh.
Yes, so, I want to make a couple of points, one of which is, it is difficult, given the fact that, you know, some of these buildings, have been taken to a different use, but now it's been 4 decades or 5 decades that they've been in other realms. So I do think that context is something that we can take into consideration when we're reaching out about these properties. You said it was designated in 06? June 6, 2006, right?
So they were already occupied as such prior to the designation.
Exactly.
So
There is a
nothing we can do
history
about
and
that.
context that we're coming to battle up against.
Yes.
I appreciate the letter. I think it is great. I would push to accompany that with, I think what you were saying would be an invitation to come
Yeah.
either to a formal meeting or to like an informal meeting where we can just speak frankly, to have a discussion about what can be done, you know? These are the things that the community wants from you. How can you accommodate them while still making your business? Let's find some space to negotiate, I think, a little bit.
Okay, so go ahead, Ms.
So I'm gonna reiterate what you said and what you said. Use is not within the purview of LPC. This is on the LPC list of things. We meet with them, quarterly, about, properties that are at risk properties, is on their list. I actually get this list every month. So LPC is looking at this, and LPC is in contact with the owners about the current condition of the property. And if it appears that the property is at risk of further damage, they will take action.
And if I may, I look to support those actions by also being another entity that says, hey, we also notice, LBC notices, we notice, we want to talk, let's get the discussion going, how we can preserve the building. I also, for what it's worth, I think the LPC should have a little bit further reach than that for some of these buildings in terms of use. You know, it's not the only theater in West Harlem that is used for other things. The McDonald's, it's not a McDonald's anymore, now it's a Chipotle. That building was a theater. We have Snipes at 146th Street.
It's not
you know.
lost out.
Well, I understand that, but I'm just pointing out that I think that it could or should be, but that's another discussion for another time.
So, do we need to vote on this?
Yes, so committee members, go ahead, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so I make a motion that we go forward with the letter and advance it to executive committee.
Unanimous consent.
Aye.
Aye, okay, there's no, all the committee members, we have 1, 2, 3. Oh, there's 6 of us, okay, so we have 6 people, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much for writing that letter
Yeah, thank
and
you.
your
I will add the
participation.
invitation to
It's,
meet.
I think I put it in the letter, it's in the letter at the end. Oh, wait, it was an invitation for them, just to let us know if there's any changes, additional, because the use is important. It doesn't have to be important to LPC, but it's important to us as, members of this community board. Okay,
Great.
so we can, go ahead and let me stop sharing this. And then our next presentation is from Coda Nest LLC, located at 43 St. Nicholas Place. Let's see, the presentation is by Margarita McGrath.
Yep, it's present. I just need to be able to share the screen.
Okay, you have 15 minutes 10 to 15 minutes, okay?
Heather.
And then we want to allow for questions.
Yeah, I'd like to take 3 of those minutes just to bring everyone up to speed, since we were here in April.
Yeah, you've been here several times, so,
Just in April, actually.
okay, yeah, but I'm saying within the past year, you've been here several times.
Yes.
Is I've been at the meetings, but not presenting, more than once before. But I think that there are new people who weren't here in April. So-
You can take up 3 of your minutes, and you can discuss Coda Nest LLC.
That's right. Coda
Okay.
Nest is owned by Coda Alliance, which is a nonprofit, for gender equality.
Wait a minute, I just want to stop you for a minute, okay? Coda Nest LLC is the owner of this building, not for the need alone.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and start, do you have the present, were you able, oh yeah, you're able to get the presentation, okay. All right. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So, so if I just take a little time to bring everyone up to speed, Coda Nest is the LLC of, for liability purposes of the.
I don't mean to stop you, but
Building.
can you just identify who you are and
Oh, yeah.
explain?
Yes, I'm Jana Renstrom, I'm on the agenda. I'm the founder and president of the nonprofit, which works for gender equality and women's empowerment. And we work specifically focusing on Black and Latinx women.
What is your relationship to Coda Nest LLC?
We're the owners of the building.
How many members of this LLC are there?
There's only one member.
You're the only member, you're the managing member.
Coda Alliance, yes, owns 100% of Coda Nest LLC.
Coda Nest LLC
Yeah.
is listed as the owner.
Yeah, right.
Okay, all right. And you're the only member of Coda Nest.
That's right.
Okay, go ahead.
So, we, as I said, we work for gender equality, women's empowerment, established in 2015, but only been in Harlem since January 2022. And the building was built in 1865 or around there. And so obviously, it's seen a lot of wear and tear and has undergone some renovations in the past. But now what we do there, we focus on the arts and health and wellness as being sort of pillars for empowerment. Sorry.
There's some interference.
That was me.
Okay, sorry for the interruption. I don't know whose phone or whatever that is.
As an example, tomorrow we have a.
Again, I'm gonna stop you. We're here to talk about Coda Nest.
Sure,
Okay,
yeah.
Coda Nest LLC.
Well, the reason I bring it up, because I think it's important for you all to know what the building is used for and why we are requesting these changes. So essentially, there are 3 reasons. One is for better sustainability of the operations by making it more energy efficient. That's with the doors and the windows come in. Second is to make it accessible for disabled people, seniors, so they can get into the building and take part in our programming. And the third reason, which is probably the most important, is fire safety. Because the building is not up to code currently, and Margarita will explain more about the details of that. And that was the issues that this committee had when we presented in April. Most of the comments were related to the staircase proposed to be built to the roof and the bulkhead above that. So we took those comments to heart, and we've done several rounds of revised plans with the LBC staff. And we've also reached out to community members and neighbors. So let Margarita take it from here.
All right, thank you so much. And I want to give a shout out to Annette as well and Heather for meeting with us over the summer. And I'm feeling very chill. I'm gardening, eating chocolate, birding, and even have a campfire. So I also treasure those parks. It's amazing.
Sounds relaxing.
All right, so yeah, thanks again for hearing us again. So we're applying for 2 things. One is to reactivate the center door. And you can see our building on the lower right here. Right now, the entry is through a service entry on the right, which is quite narrow. And we want to reactivate the historic central opening. And that will allow us, as Jana said, to bring in people, baby strollers, people with different kinds of mobility issues. And eventually, we're going to put in a personal elevator to be able to make the entire building accessible. So that's one point. And the second one is that we want to bring a stair up to the roof. And that is actually, we're looking to the future of the organization. And that's not necessarily required today, but once we start renovating the building, the Department of Buildings, given the height of the building, will ask us to put that stair in. So we really thought it was important first to go to landmarks and the community boards to get permission for that, so that we have kind of a clear track to be able to start to continue to develop the building. All right, so this is just our location, and I'm going to go through these slides pretty quickly because we've already gone through them once. And here we are looking at the corner with a little weird low building, and then Coda is the building sitting in the back. And we're up on the roof showing you the existing condition where we're bringing that stair. You can see that little opening on the wall on the right. That's a current, just a straight vertical ladder that gets you access up to the roof. And so then here are two main areas of work. On the left, you see the roof in red is the footprint where the stair will come up. And on the right, all of that pink stuff, that's what we're going to try to bring down to level. Right now, you come in that tiny entry on the right, go up some steps, and we're planning where you see number 7 in the future to put a personal elevator there to be able to get people up to the 2nd floor, which is where many of the community activities happen. All right, so here we are just looking at elevation, and in our conversations with landmarks, they've been really interested about, I mean, this is a fantastic block. It's just so beautiful. And they're really interested on how our entry fits in with kind of the base of the block. And so you see that we took a look at the C means that's where the entry is. So there's 2 central entries in the block, and then some ones that move sometimes to the right, sometimes to the left. So the block is not symmetrical. There's kind of a punctuation. And Landmarks is also really interested in what those openings look like. So here you can kind of see a more detailed texture of the openings. Our building is on the left, and you can see that right now it's got the security bars, and we're talking about entering, opening up that center area where the garbage cans are, and that will be the new door. And here you see that on the right. And the door is, the opening only allows us to do this kind of little bit asymmetrical opening. So we have a full 3-foot wide door. So you can see how small the service door on the right is compared to that. The door labeled A is a normal size door. All right, then this is just some details that Landmarks wants to know about, that we're looking at the trim and the openings. And then the other question that came up in our last meeting with Landmarks was the fence. You can see that the block is bounded on the left and right by low wrought iron fences. And we're just cutting ours back a little bit in the front so that we can get to the center, the new center entry. All right, so that's the proposal for the entry. And then I'm just gonna kind of go through that. And then we looked really carefully at the blocks in Harlem and in the surrounding areas. And what was really interesting to us is that many of the developments that we think are so beautiful are bookended. So there's 2 bigger buildings on the left and right, and then kind of rows of buildings that are not all the same, but they're all basically kind of the same flavor. And you can see our block is weird because there's the bigger building on the right, but there isn't really one on the left. There's that tiny little low building. And so we thought that was quite interesting, is that you've got this open edge, and our bulkhead's going to go up here. And so what we're trying to do with the bulkhead is close that edge. And so in our last meeting, we had a little bit different design where we were also trying to, I thought it was really interesting hearing about the Claremont Theater, is that we were actually trying to do something with the interior to follow the historic flavor of the stair. There's this amazing U-shaped stair that weaves all the way up. But what that meant is that the bulkhead got really big when it got up to the top. And so what we've done is we've changed, rather than wrapping all around, we've changed the last portion of the stair to be a straight run stair. And that allowed us, since we last saw you, to make the bulkhead narrower and to push it back a little bit. And you can see we've got a squeeze, which is right here. And so that's kind of keeping us from being able to push it even more, because we're at 7 foot here, and that's, you know, we could go down to 6'8", but with tolerances and whatnot, we think it's safe to try to keep this at 7 foot. So that's kind of, we're showing you where this is positioned on the facade. So on the left is it before the bulkhead, and on the right, you see the bulkhead. And as I said, we were trying to close the block so that we're repeating the same angles of the beautiful crown shaped roofs on the front of St. Nicholas. And then this is up on the roof, and then there'll be a little bit of a railing that you won't really be able to see from the street, but we're just showing you what that looks like. And then I want to just walk you on the block. The first time we took the photos, it was winter, and it's a whole lot easier to see when there are no leaves on the trees. It was really hard actually to find viewpoints to look past the trees, but you can see it just peeking over the trees there. And
Okay, can I ask a question?
I think she has about another 4 or 5 minutes, and then.
Okay.
okay, I'm done.
Good. What do you want from us?
We are seeking that you all will write us a letter to take to landmarks. That you.
And what type of
proposal?
What type of letter? I'm sorry.
Well, the letter would be in support of the exterior work that landmarks have been reviewing, And I was at the early meeting when they came to the community board, but there was a lot of issues about the bulkhead and things apparently that were discussed. And now those items in conjunction with the landmark items were all discussed in landmarks and trying to alter the design to try to meet everybody's interests. And so this final design speaks to those earlier discussions with landmarks, and we're coming back to show you what is being proposed and asking for a letter of support.
Miss Robinson, Annette, go ahead.
Okay, this kind of reminds me of the Claremont Theater, and I just want to say two things. Two things can be true at the same time. One of those is that this is a landmark structure and there is a change occurring. So you guys come before us in good faith to say this is what we're doing and how it will affect the building, the exterior. Right, and then on the other side of it, Ms. Yana is a nonprofit organization. She's in the community and she's attempting to provide a service. This is the community and community board, right? And so our focus, my focus is always on that community. How are we fostering community? And anyone who has been a long-standing resident of this community, we are accustomed to folks coming into our community, providing services that they believe we need, right? And those services, it's not that they don't help, but those services have a tendency to serve a select few, not the masses. And then the next part of that, it's about fostering the community. How is that done? What are the organizations? Is that done before? Is it done after? And Yana knows that we've had conversations and always encourage what that community looks like. So we have the structure, and then we have this elephant in the room that Yana intends to apply for grant money. This structural change can go through it. LPC, they do it all the time. Without a letter of support from the board, it does help. And then it also serves to allow them the opportunity to get this grant money. You have the money and whose needs are being met. Then this is a SRO. Does it change the designation down the road? We've asked the question. Yana has clearly stated that's so far down the road. She's not concerned. Everyone has a different idea of what community looks like. And I'm not going to doubt her intentions one way or another. I do believe that there is a need for more community engagement. I do believe that the needs of the masses of this community is not being met. And so if folks are concerned,
Those are major concerns.
I really need to respond to that, please, just quickly.
Go ahead, yeah, go ahead.
Community is definitely in the core of our focus here. Well, the building is not big enough to hold masses, you know, but what it is, it's a safe space. And we specifically focus on women and teens and also gender fluid individuals, you know, or gender non-conforming individuals. The feedback that we hear constantly is that people see it as a safe space. You know, and when you come into the building, it's a lovely old building, and just the feng shui or whatever it is, you know, on it all, and, you know, makes people feel comfortable there. And we definitely work together with community organizations. For instance, we have free yoga every Saturday, in collaboration with Harlem Wellness Center. We just got a grant from West Harlem Development Corporation to run a youth program with a youth organization called Forward Inclusion. Last year we got a grant for an art exhibit, which we're repeating with less grant money actually this year. It's starting tomorrow, and everyone is welcome to attend the opening. So it's definitely.
Two quick questions.
Go ahead, and
This is-
Josh, I saw his hand
Yeah,
too.
the small building that's to the side, who owns the building?
That is owned by 401 West 152.
Mhm.
And we actually share the super, so I know a little bit about it. And I've been trying to reach the board of that building because, you know, one of our ideas was
It's
to.
an HCFC,
I'm sorry?
it's a co-op
It's a
HCFC.
co-op, yeah. And, but nobody's gotten back to me, but we had this idea that, you know, with our artists that we've gotten very engaged with lately, that we would, you know, suggest perhaps a youth mural project, you know, to make it prettier, that, because it's an eyesore, you know. But then we can't get that, and it's been there for like 60 years, so it's not in great shape, it's all good now. They have other priorities, you know, I was sort of for, you know, other needs in the building. But, you know.
Josh, let me let Josh.
Oh,
his
thanks.
hand was up, and then I'm gonna go to you, Mr. Hall.
Forgive me, I was not here in April, sorry, I was late. Can anyone summarily speak to the physical concerns that were brought up at that time that have been addressed and or haven't been addressed, or how outstanding, or if I think it might be slightly an opinion thing? And if you speak to like, because I think you were saying that some of the things were, I'm sorry, I don't even know who you are.
John Reddick, and I wasn't at the meeting, I looked through the review.
You were
drawing,
saying,
and then they modified the angle and the projection of the bulkhead, of the roof line. And the door modifications, it's going back to the same central opening that had been before. And so what Landmarks wanted to see is the molding treatment and the size of the door and all of that, whether it be a solid door or whatever. And all those things have been reviewed by Landmarks and pretty much have been approved. But they wanted to go through the public review process, so they've done it once before.
and again, I'm just asking about the physical questions here. Does anybody else have any?
I walked through,
Okay.
okay,
I
so
also walked through.
we walked through, we actually have invited this, what's your name?
Yeah.
Yana, I don't wanna say it wrong. We invited Yana, she came to more than 10 meetings,
No.
8 with us and also with zoning. Under the community board.
And with the health and environment and arts and culture, so she's
Yes.
adding up.
I'm adding them all together, you've
You've been to more than 10.
Not only that, I walked over myself, because that's my name. I walked in, looked around, and saw. The question is, does she fit into the community? Is she zoned to be, as she sits now, is in zoning? That is a question of that residential block, as odd as it might look to anyone else, because people only own homes. So basically what we did was, we did an extensive research, and we even invited her to bring more information that we thought if she would do, that it would enable her, you know, that we would get a better view of what was happening. We also, she has not spoken to the neighborhood, which I have. The neighborhood is not receptive to her. And we did everything that we could to accommodate her, and I'm not finished, ma'am. And our decision has been that we would not write a letter of recommendation, and I am making a motion that we have a no vote.
So 1 second, let me just, let's see, Ewan, go ahead, and then I'm gonna go to you, Ms. I saw Ewan's hand up first.
Yeah, I'm
Go
just,
ahead, Ewan.
yeah, I'm just curious about one thing. Is the building currently occupied?
Yes.
Yes.
It is, okay. Is it,
Yeah.
is the
Yeah, no,
building
we-
classified as a residential building?
It's a residential building, yes. It used to be an SRO, but it was empty already at the time of,
Okay.
when we bought it.
And now you are trying to change the classification to a,
Once,
because
once we do complete the renovations, it's my understanding that we can apply for a change in the certificate of occupancy to,
But-
either single family, or, there's some, category called nonprofit with sleeping accommodations.
but wouldn't you need to know that before you do the renovations? I'm not quite sure what is happening here. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Although this is not under the purview of the,
Yeah, Ewan, if I
facade, but
could,
I'm just curious about that.
No, 1 second, please don't interrupt. Ewan, finish your thought. We're only gonna have one person speak at a time. So Ewan, you please complete what you're
Yeah.
saying.
So it would seem to me that you would have to determine the use of the building, although this is not on the purview of the landmarks committee, but it is important. You're talking about doing renovation, but you have the question mark of the use of the building is still there. And if, depending on the use of the building, there's certain requirements that you would have to meet. So it would seem to me if that were to occur, you're planning to undo the renovations that you're doing prior to applying for this, change of classification of the building. It doesn't make sense to me. But it's just a comment.
Of course, yes, yeah.
answer is
Go ahead,
the
Marguerite.
architect, yeah, thank you. Certificates of occupancy in the city are a little tricky, is that quite often you get sold a building and it's not the building. And it was interesting to hear about the Claremont one. So this building was an SRO. When Yana acquired it for Coda, it was no longer configured as an SRO. In fact, it was configured as a two-family, and there had been a renovation by the previous owners that wasn't filed with the Department of Buildings. And so you bring up a really good question, and we're trying to figure out how to responsibly answer that, because we don't, it's currently not in a state we would have to, we either have to add or subtract kitchens, and we are trying to figure out with Coda's, Coda is an organization that is trying very
Yeah.
hard to fit the community,
Right.
and so we're changing. And
So
so
it
we're
looks,
trying to
yeah.
figure out, where that will, what the best configuration of the building will be when we do the renovations. But as I said, right now, this is just really step one. Because
Right.
it's the exterior work that the community sees and Landmark sees, and we want to get that right with both Landmarks and the community board. And then we'll continue to kind of develop the project on the interior. But this is
Okay.
probably a decade-long project.
Okay, because it sounds like you're heading towards a community facility. That's the way.
Yes, that's what it sounds like.
Sounds like.
So did you receive a certificate of non-harassment or non-harassment certificate?
Yes, they provided that,
They have it
the previous owner.
Yeah, there's a young lady in front of me, I have that.
from landmarks.
So I just have a specific question regarding the bulkhead. And that is to, I can't see this well, here, Marguerite, Margarita, has LPC asked you to do a mock-up on the roof? And
It's there.
so it's there right now, but we have no picture of it. So
Yeah, I think there's,
is there a picture of it?
There was a drawing, one with a like the triangular thing.
It's in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it a drawing or a picture? I don't.
Oh, it's a drawing.
So here's the drawing, and then the mock-up we have, we've taken some pictures here. We're walking down the street. And as I said, it's a little challenging on some of the shots to get the tree.
Okay, so it's a little shadow in the back.
Yeah, go back one.
It's kind of orange, seems very.
The bulkhead, the mock-up is on the left and the rendering.
One sec, there's a train, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I can't quite hear. Can you say that again?
There's a train passing, just give us 1 second.
Okay.
Okay.
Could you go one picture backwards, please?
Okay, all right. And do you have the sightline drawings? I don't know if I saw that. From this, like, I guess it would be across the street. The little sightline, the man on the street? No. No,
They don't
okay.
have it, they're very high.
Is that what you're asking?
No, it's the sightline drawing, you have from across the street, the guy on the street with the view angle from across the street, or what we see from across the street. You were asked to do that. There it is. Okay, there it is. Okay, there it is. It's so, yeah, okay, I see it now. Okay.
Where is that?
Thank
Yeah, and.
That's behind.
Right, and the issue with the mock-up that you've done, and I walked by the building yesterday, is that there's no caution tape or bright orange kind of taping, masking around it so that it's clearly visible what the effect will be. So there's a specific way that you're supposed to do a mock-up of when you're building an additional structure on the roof.
I don't know that we were aware of it. Yeah, it's
in the
orange
menu.
tape, and so you can, it's like back.
Right, it's so from what I saw yesterday, it doesn't look very much different from what I saw previously. But in there's a certain way that you're supposed to do it, and you have not met that requirement. Additionally, I just want to clarify for everyone that's here right now, and I don't want to beat around the bush about this. This is a restricted single room occupancy, as people stated. And it does have an existing certificate of occupancy. So there is a legal use for this residential property right now. And it's one of the few I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of certificate of occupancies. I've seen a lot of SRO buildings that have been converted, have not been converted. This is the very first one that I've seen that actually has a certificate of occupancy. So that is the legal use of this property. There was a, inspection from the Department of Buildings a couple of years ago where there was a complaint made about the property being not being occupied according to its intended use. And the inspector found that there had not been any changes, that it still was being occupied according to the certificate of occupancy. So what I'm having a hard time understanding is that you're coming before this community board and you're asking, and you're already occupying as if you're a commercial entity, and what the certificate of occupancy says is a residential property. And you're paying taxes as if this is a single family home, but you're occupying it as a nonprofit corporate entity, member LLC, single member LLC. And I personally have a problem with that as a small property owner. I take issue with properties that have an intended use of a 1 or 2 family home in this community, and they're extremely scarce. Our built environment in Community Board 9 comprises 2.43% of our built environment is 1 and 2 family homes. So you're coming before this community board asking us to remove a single family property and convert it to commercial use.
No.
Many properties have come before us, and it's something typically that we have not in the past approved. So when you say no, I don't know what you're saying no to, because it's clear that there is an existing certificate of occupancy for this property. So any fire code regulations have already been grandfathered in. It's because you wish to change the use from its residential use into a commercial use, which is causing the need to change the bulkhead and to change the facade. We have no issue with you restoring the facade back to its original use in terms of what the original, I think the door was converted to a window to restore the door back to what it was originally in the historic photographs that you provided us. That's not what we take issue with. We do take issue with the fact that you're currently occupying this property not according to the Department of Buildings certificate of occupancy. So, and you currently have it registered with HPD, you're registering the one apartment and the 8B rooms. So you're aware that this is still a single room occupancy. So when I hear it come out of your mouth that this is no longer a single room occupancy, but yet you've been registering with HPD the past couple of years or so since you owned it as it is an SRO. So you're aware that it is still an SRO because you've been registering it as such.
Okay, hold on a
Okay.
second. Can I respond?
I don't know what you're gonna respond to, but go ahead.
Well, first of all, I don't remember how I registered at HPD. It's
I can
possible
tell you exactly how you
Okay,
registered.
possible that I made a mistake there, but the thing is, my understanding was that we, obviously, when we bought it, we wanted to change the CLO, to.
Well, see, that's what we're
reflect-
getting at. And so when I
and do
emailed
it
you and I
before-
asked you the question, because anytime you're starting a renovation, the very first thing that you have to do with the Department of Buildings is say what kind of renovation you're going to do.
Yes.
Is this going to be an alt 1 or an alt 2?
Okay, Margarita, can you help me here?
It's
I'm
an
not
alt
sure I know.
one.
Okay, so you're going to change, the alt 1, you're going to change the use of this residential
Yeah.
property. And that is.
Heather? Excuse me.
Yes.
Oh, when you change the egress. So
That's fine, okay, so we're just, there are a lot of new people on this particular committee. And we need to make sure that when you come before us, that you come before us giving us clear and direct information. So I don't want you to mislead this community board by making it appear as if, just because you're currently occupying the property as a nonprofit, as a commercial use, that's the legal use right now. The legal use until you change it is still a residential property. And this would be just like a cannabis shop coming before us that doesn't have a cannabis license and saying, oh, we're occupying this illegal cannabis shop. Can you please give us a letter of support from the community board? And then we'll go get the license and legalize it.
It seems that this is a chicken and egg situation because
No,
we
it's
can't
very-
change the
it's
CLO until we do the renovations.
Well, that's not our problem. Okay, you have to come before this community board with clean hands. And tell us upfront what it is that you're doing. When I asked you specifically in an email that I sent you the other day, what is the intended use
Yes.
after you change it? You said you couldn't tell us that right now.
Well, of course, it's going to be the nonprofit use. And by the way, there are a lot of nonprofits that.
There are a lot of single family homes in this community, in our historic districts that have changed hands into nonprofit or commercial use because people come into this community and they buy up our small properties because it's cheaper for them to buy a small residential property than it is for them to buy a commercial space. And then we forever lose the ability for small property owners to keep the nature and character of this community. We're able to continue to preserve our historic districts and the look and feel of our community.
So you would rather have a single family home than as the home of a community?
Go ahead, Ms. Robinson.
Donna, please hear me, no disrespect. You are providing a service to the community.
Yeah.
There is a structural concern and designation, but also you are a nonprofit providing a service, right?
Yeah.
You are, and it's a service to the community. And usually when those relationships are built and fostered, the people of that community, they see your works, they know who you are.
Yeah.
So what I would say in a spiritual term, I know it's not a denial, right? Take the time, foster your community, build those relationships. And those people of this community are going to show up for you because they see your works. I understand what you need now. Revisit what that looks like for you. Okay, because we are here, and we are here on really a focus, we say sometimes keep the main thing the main thing. We're here because it's LPC and we're talking about structural change and designations. But in your heart is that other part, which is the works that you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. Can I just answer that, because we've been here for over 2 years now, and,
You need time.
yeah.
You need time,
Right,
and the
so-
reason why I say you need time, because if your works were in clear view, this room, the people you serve would be here with bells on. And not that that would not has any impact here, because it's an LPC committee, right? But it's something to be considered. So it's 8:10, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Why are we here? Let's get to
Okay,
it. Can I
I
just-
make a motion that we do,
Can I just
make
respond to that?
unanimous.
Yes, go ahead,
That's what you can hear.
Go ahead and respond.
Okay, yeah, will be all right, sits on our board of directors.
This is not an issue of the board or your nonprofit. The nonprofit does not own this structure. Again, Coda Nest LLC owns this property, okay?
It's the same as the Coda.
It's not the same. It is not the same. It is a commercial entity owns the property, and you're using your nonprofit as the entity to do the renovations on the property.
Our treasurer, who is also our agency.
That's
lawyer, is
fine.
online. She could just explain the difference between the
Well, part of what we do is we preserve residential housing in Harlem. We preserve affordable housing in Harlem. Converting SROs into corporate entities, nonprofits, development causes makes our housing costs increase.
Motion.
Maybe.
Refer this matter to.
Hold on one second, I wanna add one more thing.
You don't have to support my motion, just let me say my motion.
Okay, go ahead.
To refer this matter to land use.
Okay, so now, before we go into that motion, I'd like to offer a suggestion. Possibly what we could do is send the Department of Buildings over there to inspect you and to see that if you were up to code, or see if you're doing what you're supposed to, or possibly we could just sit and let you have time to put your house on.
We have no violations, and they're welcome to come, and they will tell us to put in a fire exit.
No, I think it was telling that you're occupying the property illegally.
We're not occupying it illegally.
So it sounds like a motion has been made that the question at hand needs to be switched to another committee. I'll second that. I'll second the motion to.
And we've done this before, hold on, sorry. We've done this before, for the last couple of years now, since she's been in existence, and we were very cooperative with us. We got together, we also included the head of Community Board 9, and we really took a lot of time. I'm not seeing anything different in your presentation that you gave before. So we already wrote a letter, and I make a motion that we have a no vote and that the letter stands.
It can
So-
still go to.
It should be,
House Land use, but we can choose here for a letter of support.
So let's move on the letter, so let's take a motion, do we support a letter of support, do we support a letter of support for CODA?
Anybody second his motion?
Can I add one piece of information? We have 81 signatures now.
Yeah.
Once we have.
Yeah, that's for the Coda Alliance. It's not for Coda Nest.
No, it is. It is for this project.
Until I hear from land use, I don't support the letter.
Okay, but is there anyone, on the community board that wants to provide a letter of support for Coda?
Let's do a roll call.
So let's do,
Oh.
no, it's unanimous
Is it unanimous
consent.
consent, no?
Yes, unanimous consent, no.
No.
Okay. So,
Just
And then.
conversation, I would like to hear from land use. Let them get considered
We'll-
land use.
we'll do-
next,
Yeah, she did that before.
I will say that we are a community board and assisting community, whether it's a nonprofit or an individual, is part of what we're called to do. So I
That's
do
what we
think
do.
the helpful feedback from tonight is directing you to the land use committee. Because I think the questions that are tricky right now fall under their.
And you need to, I think for your entity, you need to go to them and sort out these issues that you rightly raised, sort out those issues, and then come back to us. I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think we're going up on 8:10,
Yes,
so let's go into the
yeah.
next item.
And the next item was.
Oh,
You have to occupy the property legally first.
We're in meeting.
Yeah.
LPP permits.
Yeah. There was, yeah, we're on, the old business update review current LPC permits and violations. There was none issued. I did send out to the committee members, the latest, permit violations. There was nothing. There was nothing on there. If you all want me to, if I need to show up, but there, we didn't.
No,
Yeah, it was withdrawn. So is UN still on? UN, do you have anything to update us on regarding the West Harlem Historic District?
No, possibly next month in
Okay.
December. Yeah.
All right, and Robert Stern is it on? We're still watching our historic districts and we're still trying to garner support so that the Landmarks Preservation Commission will eventually provide us with the designations that we've been seeking
Right.
to further protect and preserve our community.
And Heather, the area that I'm really focused in as a first phase, as I said in the last meeting, is 140 around the Hamilton Place, 145th to 140th. Hamilton Place and what is it, Broadway? Yeah.
Hamilton Place, 140th and Broadway.
Yeah.
Hamilton Place.
Yeah.
I have a question. You're the Historic Society, Harlem Historic?
Thank you so much.
Are you Harlem Historic Society?
She's Harlem One Stop and she also is the West Harlem Preservation.
Okay, okay.
You can describe your organization briefly.
No, I just wanted to know,
And I do this, Miss Caldwell, I do this under the West Harlem Community Preservation Organization. All my landmarking or historic preservation work is done under that banner. Yeah.
okay. Okay, I just wanted to know.
We'll wrap up on it. So
St. Luke's, and then while we're at it, did you want to have anything to say about St. Luke's Episcopal Church?
Oh, we meet on the 11th.
Monday.
Yeah.
Okay.
So next month we'll have something to report. Yeah.
Okay. And that's, that concludes, it's 8:13.
Okay, we're not gonna talk about that for, when that's what we talked about, I'd like to withhold that for a while and get back to that.
so I make a motion that we adjourn.
I second.
Brilliant.
Meeting adjourned.
Adjourned at 8:13 p.m.
Amen.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your participation. Thank you.
You and I look forward to speaking to you.
Hi, it just didn't, my phone, it wasn't registering your, getting through to your number. But
I wanted you to send you in my phone number, please.
But Miss Colwell, you sent it to me, but when I dial, it just wasn't registering. But I emailed you my telephone number. So if you wouldn't mind calling me, yeah, whenever it's convenient for you.
Yes, ma'am, I appreciate you and I thank you very much, Ewan.
Thank you for all the work you're doing on
Yes,
Yeah.
I do want to speak to you and thank you very much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
I'm gonna save the chat
Okay, yeah, save that and then disconnect.
and.
So it'll make it longer. We're adjourned. She just did.
I just want to save the chat for my own personal use before.
Yeah.
And then let's see. We're gonna go ahead and, let's see, how do we end the meeting? I can't see. Stop recording. There it is. Are you sure when to start recording to the